Hi everybody! So I'm so sorry that it took so long to get to this video. We had a super long trip home. It took a lot longer than we thought it was going to take to get from San Antonio back to Georgia. What was supposed to be like a 14-hour ride turned into like a 20-hour ride, it feels like. We left out San Antonio about 11 o'clock Georgia time on Monday morning. Ooh, that hair. Sorry, y'all. Left out about 11 o'clock Georgia time, Monday morning from San Antonio. So it was 10 o'clock their time. And we did not get home to Georgia in our house until about 6 o'clock Tuesday morning, Georgia time. We did not make any extra stops. We didn't go anywhere way out of the way. I do not know what took so long to get home, but it took a long time to get home. So we slept the day away Tuesday. And I spent yesterday with a stomach bug, just kind of nasty feeling. I didn't feel like doing anything at all. And today I'm getting over it. I feel a little bit better. So here we are. We're going to do some NXT Dallas talk. We're going to talk TakeOver. We're going to talk Royal Rumble, Raw, SmackDown. I'll admit I didn't pay a lot of attention to 205 Live this week. And then we'll talk some NXT from last night. Okay, so we started out our trip to Texas with a NXT show in Dallas. It was our first NXT show, and I honestly have got to say I really, really, really hope it's not the last. Triple H, NXT, whoever books you guys, please, 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 please come to Atlanta. We want NXT here. We really, really do, because I really don't think Atlanta knows what they're missing, and they are missing a lot. We get SmackDowns, we get Raws. We want NXT in Atlanta. Bring it to us, people. All right, NXT was probably one of the greatest live shows that I've seen. The venue was small. It was intimate. It felt more old school style wrestling shows to me. I grew up, when you went to a skating rink for a wrestling show and you still got all the big names like Tommy Rich and, all these people like that on these small, intimate shows. And I loved it. And that's really what I felt like at NXT. I felt like I was going back in time to the small, intimate shows where it wasn't about how many people you performed in front of. It was about doing what you love to do. And I really feel like that came across from every single one of those guys and girls who stepped in that ring that night. There was some really good matches. We got Cedric Alexander. He put on a great match. He really, really did. One thing about the NXT show that I will say I wasn't thrilled with was the lighting. Okay, Jen, Billy, they were there. They could tell you that it was very dark. They never really brought up the house lights a lot. So sometimes getting some good pictures was a little more difficult because it was darker. That said, it didn't take away anything from the show. It maybe added to the intimacy of the show, in fact. But so we had that. We had some Cedric Alexander. We saw No Way Jose was there, and he puts on a show from start to finish. He's awesome. I really, really, really like No Way Jose. He's entertaining to watch on TV, but I think when you see him live, he really just takes what you see on TV, and it's a whole nother level and stuff. And you can just tell. He's one of the ones you can tell. He loves what he's doing. He doesn't care if there's 500 people or if there's 50,000 people. He loves what he's doing, and he loves the people who come and pay their money to sit in the stands and watch what he's doing. And that was very apparent after the show when, after the show, typically, there's ways you can meet the guys and everything. And that night, I guess because they had the big pay-per-view down in San Antonio the next day, they were putting them all on a bus after the show. They fed them on the bus. They did everything on the bus. So really, they had no reason to not just come out from the venue and get straight on that bus. But we got out there a little later. So when we got there was a lot of the guys already on the bus, which is no big deal. I mean, you're tired, you've done your work, whatever. That's fine. I get it. You have no obligation to come off of that bus and sign autographs or take pictures. I don't hate any single one of them who were on that bus and did not come off the bus when the fans showed up. That said, No Way Jose was out there when we got out there, and he not only did he go down the fence line and speak to everyone and take pictures with everyone. He didn't want that fence in his pictures with people. He wanted the people to have their pictures. He literally climbs up the fence, hangs halfway over the fence, and walks down the fence this way so that every single person can get his time. And I really thought that was awesome. Samoa Joe was another one who came out, and he went the whole fence line. Now, granted, he didn't climb the fence and hang over the fence like No Way did, but he did go down the whole fence line, and he did take time to speak to everybody, and he did pictures through the fence, which it was not a fence that was going to, really make a bad picture. But so those two guys really, really impressed me. We'll get to Samoa Joe later, though. I think we all know where that one's going. So anyways, back to the show. We all had people that we were really looking forward to seeing in this NXT show. Me personally, of course, if you know me, you know it was all about the Perfect 10. All day, all night, all day long. I was really, really pleased to see him. He put on a really good show. He's a lot taller than I expected. Like, I didn't think he was going to be short, but he's really, really tall and everything. But it was him and Eric Young, and it was really close to the match that you guys got on TakeOver. At the house show, however, Dillinger did get the win. Even with Sanity interfering and all that kind of stuff, he really, I don't remember which one it was one of the bigger guys. He almost put through the barricade and put him into fans' laps. I mean, it was a great, great, great match. We got Ember Moon. She's actually from Dallas, so it was like her homecoming. She put on a great show against Aaliyah. There was, we saw Asuka against Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. That was a good match. Asuka won. Nikki Cross came out and interfered. I don't know where she came from. This kid is little as everything, and she just came darting out and was there before you knew she was there. So we had that, and then we had the main event of the night was Bobby Roode and the Authors of Pain, who, oh my God, are huge. Like, they're big when you watch them on TV, but when they come up and they stand right in front of you, like a foot away, you just step back. Okay, you just step back because they're huge guys. It's ridiculous how big they are. So we had those three against Bobby Roode, or not against Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode was with Authors of Pain against Shinsuke and DIY. Now, let me rewind a little bit because I cannot properly tell you about NXT Dallas without including this story, and Shane is probably going to just be like, stop. But it was hilarious. It really was hilarious. I can look back on it and laugh as his wife and be okay with whatever happened. Okay, so our seats were back more against the railing in the building. Now, again, this place was really small, so it's not like we had bad seats. We were maybe 10 or 12 rows back. There wasn't a lot of floor seating where, being against the rail, you weren't so far back that you didn't feel like almost like you were just ringside. I mean, you really were still basically ringside. So that's where we were sitting. Then during the Asuka and Peyton Royce Billie Kay match, this drunk lady comes back and she talks to Aubrey and Shane and Evan and says, she's not really into wrestling. Now, mind you, she has a front row seat. She says that she was friends with the girl who was doing the ring announcing. Now, I could say that too, just because I have front row seats. That does not make it true. And in this case, I really don't think she knew who this ring announcer was for anything, no more than I knew who the ring announcer was. It was the girls' first night. I mean, they announced that at the show, the whole nine. So whatever is whatever. Anyway, so she comes back. She says she's there only to support her friend who's ring announcing, and she doesn't like wrestling at all, but she's got this front row seat, and she just doesn't want it anymore. Now, this is the second to the last match. Okay, we've been through the whole first half of the show. We've been through intermission and like 2 other matches. This is the second to last match. Okay, women's title match. She comes by there. I don't like wrestling. Hey, would you like to go take my front row seat? She says to Aubrey, and like I said, we're maybe 10 rows from the front anyways. It's not like my child is so far away. She was sitting right next to a security guard. I had my eyes on her the whole time. Jen and Billy had higher seats. They had their eyes on her the whole time. It's not like she was unsupervised and was alone. So before anybody starts with that, just don't, because I take care of my kids. Anyway, that said, we let Aubrey go up and take the front row seat because I know how she feels about wrestling and I wanted her to have that experience. So we let her go up there. The lady takes Aubrey's seat, which is between me and Shane. Evan is sitting in Shane's lap. The lady never looks at me. She's just all leaned into Shane. Hi, how are you? Oh, yeah, you guys like wrestling? Oh, all this googly-eyed crap, okay? Blatantly flirting with Shane. Whatever. I'm sitting right here. What are you going to do, you know? So anyways, then she turns to me and she says, hey, do you want to go down there with her? My friend is down there, so she can come back here and sit with me. You can go down there with her, and that's fine. We don't mind. So she gets her friend, sends her friend back to me, and I go and take her friend's front row seat next to Aubrey. Now, some of you may be like, you left a woman flirting with your husband. Yes, I did. And let me tell you why. Because I know my husband knows where he belongs, and I know my husband is not going to screw that up. So you can flirt with him all you want to, because he's still going home with me. He's not going to give you what you're looking for or any of that. However, if you would like to give me your front row seats while you try, I'll take your front row seats. So that's what we did. Me and Aubrey took her front row seats. It worked out perfectly. I did tell the girl she could have gave us her seats a couple of matches earlier when Dillinger was out there. But, you know, hey, it's neither here nor there. So, that all said, we get front row, and it's time for the Shinsuke DIY against Rude and the Authors of Pain. Aubrey, if you guys know Aubrey at all, she loves DIY. Absolutely adores DIY. Okay? So, we're down there for that match, and it's fantastic. When they first come out, you know, DIY is walking around the ring, slapping hands. She gets the hand slap from him, and she thinks it's fabulous, which, hey, for her, it is, and I was so happy for her. I really was very happy for her. I'm looking for something. That's what I'm doing, guys. Anyways, so then the match is over, and they come back around, DIY does, and she gets her pictures with the guys, which she wouldn't have got had we not have been front row. The one with Johnny is not as great, but I still absolutely adore these pictures. These guys were awesome, y'all. And we were, of course, this close with Shinsuke. And he's really tall, too. He's another one that was really, really, really tall. Watching him live is an experience. If you've never seen Shinsuke Nakamura live, you are missing an experience that if you were a wrestling fan, you should not want to miss, okay? I've been a fan for a long time. I've been to a lot of shows, and I've seen a whole lot of entrances, y'all. A whole lot, okay? Those violins hit, them lights go down, and that whole little chant starts. If you don't get chills all over the place, you are not a wrestling fan. His entrance live is so ridiculously awesome. It literally gives you chills. Okay? It was just that great. It was fantastic. I would pay to see him live again and again and again and again. And if NXT would come to Atlanta, hello, I would do it. Okay, so of course, Shinsuke and DIY won that match, and that was how that night ended. The next night, we went to Jen and Billy's house, who are my bestest friends in the whole wide world. They live in the outskirts of Dallas, so we went over there. We grilled out. We had a great, great time, and we watched TakeOver, which was very similar to the house show we'd seen the night before. There were a few differences. As we know, Dillinger lost the first match against Eric Young, and we saw Shinsuke get hurt, which really kind of sucked. We saw Rude take the belt, which, you know, it's a good way to prepare Shinsuke to come up to the main roster, I think. I think it was a great, great move. Now, one thing that we did see at the house show that we did not see on TakeOver was Samoa Joe. He was obviously absent from TakeOver. I guess maybe now we know why. I don't know. I still feel like he should have had a match at TakeOver, but he did get a really good reception and a really good send-off, I guess, from his match the night before. So maybe that was his graduation match. I don't know. Maybe he's going to go back to NXT, have that big graduation match, and then he will permanently become a fixture on Raw, which we've seen him debut this week on Raw. But we have seen a lot who debut and then they go back down to NXT and have a couple of more matches, have that big graduation match, and then they're back and they stay. So who knows how that's going to work out with Joe? We will wait and see. Okay, so that takes us to Royal Rumble, where we unfortunately missed one of the matches on the pre-show. We did get to see some Shawn, and I'm very, very proud that my 12-year-old daughter probably popped as hard for Shawn Michaels as any grown person in that place. Okay, she appreciates the legend. She appreciates the talent. She appreciates what he's done for the business, and I'm pretty damn proud of that. Of course, I popped for Shawn. He was my first wrestling crush, I think, aside from maybe Ricky Morton. Kind of showing my age, but that's okay too. We saw Shawn, which was a great experience to see him in his hometown. I've seen him live before, but never ever have I seen him in his hometown. So that was pretty cool. I was surprised we didn't get an appearance from Stone Cold. We didn't get an appearance from The Rock. Typically in the bigger pay-per-views, like your Rumble, your Mania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, you get the bigger appearances like that. And with it being San Antonio, I was really expecting to see some Stone Cold come out. So when we didn't, I won't say it was a letdown, but it was kind of surprising that we didn't see it. We did see Kevin Owens retain his title, which we put Chris Jericho in a shark cage, okay, first of all, to prevent interference. But then you made it a no DQ, so at that point, I'm thinking, what does it matter if Chris Jericho's in a shark cage or not? There's no DQ. He could interfere, and it's not going to affect the match. So, I mean, yeah, you could take Roman Reigns out to the point where he loses and he gets pinned, but there's no DQ, so it almost like counteracts itself to put him in a shark cage above the ring. But we did see that it didn't matter that he was in a shark cage, and he couldn't interfere because Braun Strowman interfered, took Roman Reigns out, leveled him. Kevin Owens gets the pin. He retains the title. I would love to see where this is going feud-wise. We can kind of assume that maybe we're going to have a Roman Strowman feud. Who knows? We don't know what's going on with WWE and the Raw brand specifically right now. And again, we'll get to that in a minute and discuss why I feel like we don't really know what direction they're about to be going into. We saw Charlotte retain her belt. I really wanted to see Bayley win. I'm kind of over the whole Charlotte is queen, Charlotte is Ric Flair's daughter, let's give her a title, woo woo woo, all this kind of stuff. I'm over Charlotte as champ. I almost feel like her championship reign is diluted by the fact that she is Ric Flair's daughter, and I feel like that's a big reason why she is the women's champion and she's not dropping the belt. That's all I'm going to say about that. Oh, in the pre-show, we did see Cesaro and Sheamus lose their titles to Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I do this all the time, y'all. We did see those belt change hands. So there was that title change. We saw AJ Styles lose his title to John Cena. I'm not a John Cena person. I'm really, really not. I could care less if he ever had a title again. I could care less if he ever wrestles again. Now, that doesn't mean I want him to get injured to the point that he can't wrestle, because I don't wish injury on any of these people, whether I like them or not. I just don't want to see him on my TV. I just don't. After the match, he went out and he had a moment with a Make-A-Wish kid and all that kind of stuff. And I know people are like, oh, he's such a great guy. Yes, he is. He was on the clock. He's always a great guy on the clock. Let him clock out, then we'll discuss it. Anyways, so of course we were pulling for AJ in that match because he's a Georgia boy, we're a Georgia king, and, Georgia got to stick together. That all being said, unfortunately, AJ dropped the title, and that was that. So, I'm trying to think of what other matches. I know there was, one more, I feel like, and I can't, my brain won't let me pull it back to memory. Anyways, so let's move on to the Royal Rumble match itself. We started out with Cass Don't get me wrong, I like Cass. I don't know that I would have put him as one of the first 2 in the ring. I just don't. There was some good entries. There were some bad entries. There were some entries that never should have happened, that should have been given to other people. I think we all know one that comes to mind. Yeah, we'll get there in a second. But there was a lot of entries that I feel like were wasted entries, and that had the opportunity to bring up other guys or to showcase some of the guys that were in the back who didn't have a chance to be showcased that night. I was glad to see Gallagher in the Rumble, because I think it pulled the cruiserweights to the front and said that we take them seriously. We want them to be showcased in a match like this, because we feel like these guys are more than just 205 and under. We feel like they're actual really great, strong competitors. And I feel like we should have had a more of a presence from the cruiserweights in the Royal Rumble. That all said, we all know who my favorite entrant was, aside from Sammy, number 8. And aside from Dolph, and I don't remember what number he was, because after I kind of stopped counting, I won't even lie. Ty Dillinger debuted in the Rumble at number 10. Of course, where else is the perfect 10 going to debut but at number 10? Come on, y'all. That place went crazy when that clock hit and that little countdown popped up on the Tron, okay? It was not just me flipping. It was the whole arena lost their minds, okay? The whole place went crazy for Dillinger. I was a proud Dillinger fan. I was proud that I was not alone. It was awesome. And at that point, I was just like, I don't even care when he gets eliminated. He's here. He's doing this. And I'm good. So there was all that. And then we had guys like Mark Henry, who we do not see on a regular basis. Guys like Big Show, who we do not see on a regular basis. And honestly, in my opinion, I feel that they were wasted entries. Those entries could have went to guys like TJ Perkins. They could have went to guys like Tyler Bate, even, who was sitting backstage at the Rumble for nothing. It really, if you want to get technical, I feel like a lot of people could have been in this Rumble, and they weren't. We could have had Joe debut in the Rumble, and we did have the Joe in the Rumble at number 30. Not the Joe that anybody wanted at number 30. That's the problem. However, we did learn that he only came out in the Rumble because it was supposed to go to Finn Balor, who was not cleared to compete, unfortunately. So we saw Randy Orton win. There was that. I love Randy. I do, but I don't love that he won. I really don't. Now there's speculation that he may face John Cena. Well, if John Cena holds on to the belt, which we know he will because he's riding whoever he's riding to keep this belt and to keep his place in the company, then that's what we're going to see at WrestleMania. I don't know how I feel about it. Anyway, so on Raw, we saw some good stuff. We saw Seth get to encounter Triple H, and then we saw Samoa Joe debut. I'm going to skip all of Raw, and we're just going to talk about this because we all know what happened on Raw. Anyways, in the end, Samoa Joe picks Seth up, puts him in the Cochino clutch, and tosses him to the ground, at which point Seth re-injures his leg. We now know that he has torn his MCL, I think it is, and he's going to be out for 8 to 9 weeks. He doesn't require surgery. That's the good point, but he is out for 8 to 9 weeks. Let me point out that WrestleMania is in 7.5 weeks. Guess we know where that's going. So, yeah. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with Raw because you knew there was going to be a Joe-Seth feud. Now there's not. So they have to rework that feud so that Joe stays up, or does Joe go back? What's going on? Does that mean that we have to pull another feud, break it up, rewrite that, put that in this? A lot of questions. Who would you want to see Joe feud with? Do you want to see him on Raw? Or do you think he should go back to NXT until Seth is back? Let me know what you think in the comments. SmackDown was pretty standard SmackDown. I feel like this week it kind of fell flat. I think they missed the mark this week. I think Raw might have been the better show this week. So there was that. Then on NXT, they did some Royal Rumble packages. They did some takeover packages. We saw some good matches. We heard that Shinsuke is injured. We don't know how serious it is, I don't think, and that sort of thing. But, yeah, there was that. So I am going to end this. I'm already at 25 minutes. I didn't plan to go this long, y'all. No. Anyway, leave me some comments below. Who do you want to see Joe feud with? Do you want to see him go back to NXT and wait for Seth to come back? What do you think about Seth getting injured again? I mean, is this bad? Is this good? When do you think Finn's coming back? Why was he not cleared? We know he's ahead of schedule on recovery. What's going on with that? Who would you like to see come up? Where do you want to see Dillinger go? Leave me comments. Let me know. Bye.